Good evening and welcome to Tuần-san News of the Week. My name is Emma Doe. And what's making headlines this week? A huge wildfire sweeps through a Hanoi forest. A new anti-smoking campaign targeted at Vietnamese communities in Sydney's western suburbs. And a Vietnamese seniors club getting the party started. In this week's top story, a group of Vietnamese seniors have held an event this week to celebrate their club's 10-year anniversary. The Lac Viet group, which is under the umbrella of the Vietnamese Senior Cultural Association, consists of about 30 men and women aged over 60 who share a common interest in Vietnamese cultural dancing, singing and cooking. Van Nguyen has the story.
The Vietnamese Senior Cultural Association celebrated the 10th year anniversary of its Lac Viet culture group on Tuesday, the 6th of June. Friends from the Vietnamese Australian community, guests from local councils, and organisations such as the Australian Vietnamese Women's Association and the Indo-Chinese Elderly Association were invited to the celebration. President of the VSCA, Ian Bui, explained that the Lac Viet group began with a small number of people and eventually grew bigger.
Our dancers are actually grandmothers from 65 to 75 years of age. In 2007, our Lac Viet was established from a very humble beginning with 6 ladies aged ranging from 55 to 65.
The 5-hour event was held at the Samarinda Ashburton Aged Services in Boroondara City. Entertainment included live music performances as well as dance acts, with dancers demonstrating graceful movements that can be seen in traditional dances from different regions of Vietnam. In 2009, with the financial support of the city of Boroondara, the Lac Viet group was officially registered as part of the Vietnamese Senior Cultural Association. Today, the group consists of about 30 men and women. Councillor Rebecca Patterson, Mayor of Monash City, congratulated the group for contributing to the multicultural life in Victoria.
Groups such as these are so important, and this group in particular performs a number of functions, connecting with seniors and getting them out into the community and connecting with others, connecting with the wonderful Vietnamese culture and making sure that that culture can continue here in Australia.
Over the years, VSCA's Lac Viet group has performed at many local community events, sharing the Vietnamese culture as much as they can. Its aim is to continue providing a healthy, physical and mental environment for its members.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
That was Van Nguyen reporting. You can watch the full story on our website at tvtsonline.com.au. Now to news in Vietnam. Vietnam and Japan have agreed to bolster security ties amid concerns about China's increasingly assertive activity in regional seas. Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc and his Japanese counterpart Shinzo Abe held talks in Tokyo over the developments involving China in the South China Sea. Without directly referring to the country, they urged China to avoid changing the status quo and escalating regional tensions. Bilateral cooperation between Vietnam would include upgrading Vietnamese coastal patrol capabilities, defence equipment and technology transfer. China claims most of the South China Sea, parts of which are also claimed by several other countries in the region, including Vietnam. Meanwhile, Japan's biggest convenience store chain, 7-Eleven, has confirmed that it will open its first outlet in Ho Chi Minh City next Thursday. According to various media sources, 7-Eleven's first store in Vietnam will be opened in the Saigon Trade Center Tower in District 1, a popular location for foreigners and expats. 7-Eleven currently has more than 62,000 stores worldwide. Kyodo News quoted a company representative as saying that it plans to open 100 stores within 3 years in Vietnam and then expand that number to 1,000 in the next decade. A vast area of protective forest in Hanoi's outlying district of Sok Sang was engulfed in flames earlier this week. Approximately 100 hectares of forest were destroyed in the fire, and the city's agricultural chief has called it the worst wildfire in Hanoi's history. The fire supposedly started on Monday afternoon and lasted for about 15 continuous hours during a record-setting heatwave. No casualties were reported. Initial investigations blamed the naturally occurring fire on the heatwave and the dry leaves in the forest. Temperatures in Hanoi hit 42.5 degrees Celsius on Sunday. Police in the central province of Nghệ An have arrested a Vietnamese driver for illegal wildlife trafficking. On Tuesday, they caught the driver named Quang with 4 monkeys and a duc langur, all of them dead. The duc langur is an endangered species protected under Vietnamese law. According to the World Wildlife Fund's website, the black, red and grey-shanked langurs are native to Vietnam, Cambodia and Laos. Their populations have dropped by 50 to 80% over the last 3 decades. VN Express reports that Quang claimed he bought the dead animals in Laos and was transporting them to a buyer who wanted to make bone glue. Bone glue is sought after by some in the country and around Asia for medical treatment, despite a lack of scientific grounds. A skincare clinic in Ho Chi Minh City has been the talk of technology news outlets today after it was discovered that the clinic's logo originated from a zombie video game. The clinic's logo is identical to that of a fictitious company responsible for a zombie epidemic in the video game Resident Evil. A journalist for technology website Mashable expressed skepticism over whether the clinic was real or a viral marketing campaign directed by the Capcom gaming company, which produces Resident Evil. Capcom representatives have not yet made an official comment on the clinic. Local Vietnamese news suggests that the recently opened skincare clinic is legitimate and is not aware that its chosen logo originated from a video game. Properties across Vietnamese cities are fast becoming a popular investment for both Hong Kong and mainland Chinese investors. Vietnam's property market only opened up to foreign investors in 2015. Since then, properties in both Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi have experienced a flurry of interest from Hong Kong and Chinese buyers. The return on rental properties in major Vietnamese cities currently sits at up to 2.5% higher than investment properties in Hong Kong, Bangkok and Singapore. According to the South China Morning Post newspaper, over 300 potential individual investors in Hong Kong attended a 2-day seminar about investing in Vietnamese properties. Low property prices and Vietnam's fast-growing economy make the country an attractive investment to more affluent Asian countries. In central Ho Chi Minh City, luxury properties cost only a 20th of Hong Kong properties per square metre. A new trend of drinking rhino horn powder has emerged in Vietnam's uber-rich circles. While rhino horns are banned from Vietnam, they are still trafficked into the country and sold on the black market. A recent feature by the American magazine The Atlantic heard anecdotal stories of Vietnam's new rich mixing rhino horn powder with alcohol, water or cocaine. Researchers into the practice told The Atlantic that consumers used rhino horn to prevent alcohol hangovers. A survey into rhino horn consumption, conducted by a non-profit organisation in Vietnam called Traffic, found that some men used rhino horn to aid them through consecutive nights of drinking with work clients. The same study identified the 4 main groups driving demand for rhino horn in Vietnam. These groups include those who believe the horn can cure cancer, young mothers treating feverish children, and rich businessmen gifting horns to gain influence. Vietnam is the largest consumer of rhino horns in the world, fueling a poaching crisis in South Africa. In 2014, the Vietnamese government committed itself to tackling the crime, but progress has been slow. Over to news in Australia. An Australian Defence Force surgeon has helped a Vietnamese burns victim to regain full use of his arm. An Australian Navy medical officer named Ravi Mahajani performed the life-changing surgery in a Nha Trang hospital earlier this week. The experienced plastic and reconstructive surgeon was in Vietnam for an annual multinational humanitarian assistance mission, where he performed several surgeries as part of the initiative. Previously to the surgery, Commander Mahajani's patient could not lift his right arm above shoulder height due to severe electrical burns. The humanitarian assistance program started 12 years ago in a response to the 2004 Aceh tsunami. A new anti-smoking campaign directed at the Vietnamese community has been launched by a local council in the outer western suburbs of Sydney. The Fairfield local government, which includes Cabramatta, has launched a project called Bỏ thuốc sống khỏe to help increase quitting rates and reduce smoking-related harm in the area. Statistics show that the Vietnamese community in New South Wales has one of the highest rates of smoking compared to other culturally and linguistically diverse groups. Vietnamese men are the main targets of the new campaign. The Cancer Institute New South Wales reports that 32% of Vietnamese men are smokers. That's almost triple that of the overall New South Wales population. The Bỏ thuốc sống khỏe campaign includes public education sessions on health and the risks of tobacco. That's all from TV Tuần-san News of the Week. For more stories, you can follow TV Tuần-san at tvtsonline.com.au and at Facebook at TV Tuần-san. I'm Emma Doe. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to your company at the same time next week.